ESS staff at the high school. According to the Board of Ed meetings from 129, 2 teachers would cost the district $175,834. That is assuming we can find staff who are qualified and appropriate for the job. And trust me, those are huge ifs. ESS has a set program that transitions the students from Scattercook to the high school versus breaking it into 2 separate programs. But here's the other thing. The school budget does not allow for the $175,834 for hiring of the 2 staff members. When the Board of Ed voted to remove the ESS program, they also effectively removed the chance of hiring more staff to replace the program, since they did not give special education money to do so. I'm in the schools every day. I see what goes on. I have children diagnosed with anxiety. Life is not like it was when we grew up, no matter how hard we want it to be. Children's mental health needs are soaring. I wanted to share the facts. I know people will share the emotional side of it, but these facts should be enough to reconsider adding the $290,000 that was cut to reinstate the ESS program. We don't want our children to be just another statistic that a parent mentions when begging for mental health needs. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Public comment, please. Thank you. Mr. Mayor?
Thank you. Next, we're going to go with the presentation of the budget and mayor comments. So before we move anything, before we do that, just everybody can take a look at the projector. And the first thing that you will see is our mantra, which is excellence of service. This is on every one of our town devices, laptops, town towers, and it's just a daily reminder of our wanting to be excellent and being excellent for our taxpayers, our residents, our business community, and it reminds us each and every day, just a small thing. So we call it the New Milford Way. So Greg, we can go to the next. And I want to play kind of just a quick short video for you. Here you go, Megan. Right there. Where? You just go back, so. So as we can see on Town Council and Board of Finance and it's here tonight, we're taping as well. We have a beautiful town. It's a rich, diverse town made up of wonderful community people. There's our volunteers and our community, our businesses, our students, our parents. And that's why it's the best town in the USA. So just to kind of sort of video that kind of captures a little bit of our wonderful town. And as we begin our budget process, as we do each and every year, I'd like to thank our department heads for the town side of the budget, for them working on the budget, and for their work every day. I'd also like to thank you, the Town Council and the Board of Finance, for going through this process each and every year. And you'll be listening to our department heads and what they feel with what their needs are going to be. You'll see some adjustments that I've made as the mayor recommendation budget. Then obviously the Town Council can make its recommendations and on to the Board of Finance for their recommendations. Also, for the process, for some that are new, the Board of Education has brought their proposed budget here. It now goes to the Town Council, and then to the Board of Finance, and then ultimately then to the public. And the public will decide after each of us has done it. It's the process, it's our charter, and I think it's a great process. So the first thing I'd like to do is talk a little bit about the general budget itself. And this is the mayor's proposed budget, it's the second one down. Yeah. So if you're looking at your, if you've looked at your books, we've had those passed out to you last week. So this is just some basic highlighted information. So the first part is where it shows fiscal year 2020. It shows both the town and the Board of Education. Then the department requests. Then my proposed expenditures. And then it shows the difference from the department request. And then it shows the increase of both the town and the Board of Education together. And then you'll see down at the bottom, the tax increase proposal. Mayor's recommendation is 2.45%, which goes from 28.7 mils to 29.4 mils. Next. So one of the things we're going to talk about first is the revenue. Greg will talk about a little bit more when he does his highlights. But some of the things when you build your budget, you don't just look at the expenses, you look at the revenues. So here's some of the drivers. So first, as you can see in the fiscal year 2020, we took $1 million out of the landfill settlement, or waste management fund, for tax relief. I am proposing that we reduce it by $500,000 to only ask for $500,000, which is a $500,000 difference. And the reason being is we have approximately 3 years left where we're going to be getting payments. So we need to wean ourselves off of that. So this is the first part of doing that exercise. The next is taxes collected in prior years. As you can see in fiscal year 2020, we had 1.1 million. We've reduced it to 975,000, which is a reduction in revenue of 125,000. The reason being is the taxes collected in prior years is reduced as Nancy McGavick, our tax collector, has done an excellent job in collecting back taxes. The third is the sales of recycling materials and commodities. The physical budget was $396,000 for fiscal year 2020. Fiscal year ending 2021, we're looking at $316,500, which is a reduction of $79,500. For those of you following the recycling market, it is collapsed because China and India are not taking recyclables anymore. So I don't know if you've seen some of the other towns that are going through as difficult time as we are, and costs are rising. So one of the things we're looking at, we're exploring new alternatives, which I will be bringing to the town council shortly as well to help mitigate some of those revenue declines, especially in the recycling category. Right. Next is the key expense changes. So here, some of the expenses that you'll see, and it won't be in the same order as you see here on the graph, because that's from highest to lowest. But some of the things is that's on the positive side is our general insurance. went down $87,238. Our recycling personnel went down $60,860. That's because we had a continued reduction in recycling personnel, and that's due to increased efficiencies. Postage was down $10,000, and that's increased electronic distribution versus print. Some of the things that are increases to the budget is $10,000, and that's for the first time we are actually, with the town council's approval, we approved a blight ordinance. So we put $10,000 in there to increase our ability to enforce the continued blight, which is straining property values. Next is $10,000, which is a park and rec, the town green turf repair. And that needs major repairs due to usage. The next is the Nova Time tracking software, which is $15,000 next year, and that's the annual fee. And we talked about that last night, which is the new management and tracking software for our employee base. The next is the DPW cleaning equipment, and that's $15,000, and that's to replace extractors, vacuums, and buffers. The next is $20,000, and that's Park and Rec, Youngsfield turf repair, and that needs repairs due to usage. The next is $20,577, and that's youth agency before and care after, and that's due to the minimum wage increase. So all of the young people that are employed in this, obviously in October of last year got a raise. They will get another raise this October, and then you have compression moving up the ladder. The next is $21,720, which was fire hydrants, which Aquarian increased their fees on our fire hydrants. Next is $30,800, and that's our dog pound contribution. We are in a multi-town assisted dog pound, where it is New Milford, Brookfield, Bridgewater, Roxbury, Sherman, and New Fairfield. And our expenses increased, so our contribution increases. The next is a DPW dam repair safety, which is $31,000, and that's increased funding for dam repair on the reservoir and bleachery dams. The next you will see, and we'll talk about this a little bit more during the mayor's budget for the mayor's office, is $33,000 for tourism and marketing, and that's to provide destination marketing website for the town of New Milford. The next is $35,179, which is the youth agency minimum wage increase, and that's the same as you would have for the before and care after and park and rec, and those are increased due to the minimum wage. The next is $48,847, which is utilities. We've had an increase in utility costs. Most of it was borne by Pettibone, and we're looking at ways to lower those costs there, from putting in new parts to the boiler, to looking at ways to reduce our costs by keeping the windows closed there and whatnot. The next is $71,279, which is the police automobiles, and we've increased the replacement of our police automobiles that you'll see in the budget that the chief will talk about. The next is $110,000, which is a DPW small truck, which is to replace the truck beyond its useful life. The next is $121,512, which is to the volunteer fire department, their contributions for their equipment, supplies, and training. Those all increased this year. DPW, $130,000 for a small paver, and that's to do small repairs versus having a contractor come out and do it. The next is $132,368, and that's an additional pension contribution. It's an increase. And that's so we can maintain the proper funding as recommended by our actuarials, which Mr. Pilla came and talked to us about it. So we've reduced our projected investment returns, and we're trying to get into a more realistic amount. The next is $160,000, which is increased in bridge replacement. We have 63 so-called bridges in town, so those are culverts, regular bridges, and those need repair. So we're continuing to work on increasing those. The next is $585,000, and that's to replace 3 6-wheelers with Sanders. And these are as you will see in your budget book with DPW, it was recommended that you would do 2 this year, and I added another 3. And the reason being is that we got a grant opportunity through the EPA for 3 additional Sanders with 3-wheelers with 20 cents to the dollar that they would give us. So that'd be a savings of approximately $100,000 if we did those in this year. So to me, it's a smart investment, as we won't have to do this next year. So there'll be savings in the next budget, so we're just pushing the cycle up 1 year. The next is DPW road replacement, and that's adding road replacement to the, it would say operating budget, but that is incorrect. It is the capital budget. So the total expense increases in these categories are $2,443,184. Those are the expense changes. And if you were to look at the 3 big drivers here, which would be your $1 million road replacement, your $585,000 to replace the 6-wheelers, plus a $500,000 reduction in revenue. If you take all those out, this would be a flat budget to the town. So I think this is very prudent investments that we need to make that continue to bring us on our trajectory of really working on our infrastructure and building a sound financial and sound regular infrastructure for our taxpayers. Does anybody have any questions so far? Okay. Next is Greg, finance update.
Good evening. This is a high-level overview of the 2021 Mayor's recommended budget. We'll first start off with revenues, and this shows the breakdown of revenues by major categories. As you can see, taxes is our primary source of income, with intergovernmental revenues coming in second. That's the money we get from the state. Fees, fines, and other are revenues that are generated from within our town. Transfers in consist of 2 categories. That would be transfers in from WPCA for debt service and tax relief from the Waste Management Fund. The tax relief number normally, traditionally we budget $250,000. This year we're budgeting $775,000, and that is a planned use of fund balance. The $525,000 I'm looking to assign from the bond premium that we received this year, and it'll be used to pay off $525,000 in long-term debt for roads that are paid off in 4 years. So that totals the $106,066,061. This assumes a tax collection rate of 98.44%, which has been consistent with the past several years. It also includes the reduction of the use of landfill settlement from $1 million to $500,000. And the last notable point here is there exists a potential of receiving an additional $322,414 from the state. This has been proposed by the governor. This is coming from bond funds, and I did not have the mayor include it in his recommendation because of the tentative nature of this revenue. But if we do, by the time we adjourn from these meetings, feel comfortable that we'll receive that. It will decrease the proposed mill rate from 29.29 to 29.29 from 29.4 for an increase of 2.02% of the mill rate rather than 2.45% increase in the mill rate. On the expenditure side of the budget, the major categories, this is just the town side of the budget. Capital, that's going to be reclassified, $1 million, like the mayor said, will come out. That should be in capital, is counted in operating, and that will be changed. We're going to need a motion to do that. So capital will actually be $4.3 million. Contingency is flat at $250,000. Debt service at $5,335,856. Fringe benefits $7.9 million. Operating expenses will go down by $1 million because that's going to be a reclass to $5.59 million. Salary and overtime $14.7 million. Town contributions to Lake Illinois and things of that nature, and is about $1.4 million. Utilities under $1 million at $986,000, totaling on the town side of the budget $40,601,285. Utilities rose approximately $50,000 to the increased cost in gasoline and natural gas. And the mayor, as the mayor pointed out, the natural gas, the big driver there is John Pettibone. Fringe benefits show a modest increase overall of approximately $44,000. The increase in health was dampened by the contingent use of $250,000 of ISF funds. In addition to that, we just got new information from Lockton, our health insurance analyst, that those costs will be going down. It's not determined exactly the dollar amount and the percentage. It's recommended that we use 8% to derive these numbers. Now they're saying it's 1%. So a quick and dirty savings on the town side is approximately $238,000. And there'll be savings as well on the Board of Ed side. So we're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars. We won't know for certain, with 100% certainty, until April. So we do have time, if not within the time you adjourn, perhaps by the time the Board of Finance adjourns, to make those changes, which will significantly lower the proposed increase in the mill rate. Debt, total outstanding as of 6/30/20 is $50,197,463. Principal and interest, that's long-term debt alone. The long-term debt payments for fiscal year 21 is $4,797,720, and that's broken down by the amounts of principal and interest. And we have a short-term debt outstanding of $11 million, $6 million for roads, $5 million for roofs, and it's a very high likelihood that a good portion of that will be converted in July to long-term debt. So that debt is not on our long-term debt payments. However, the interest on that is budgeted for. This is probably one of the more important graphs that I have, and it shows 10 years worth of historical gross grand list growth. As you can see, the trend is upward. It's pointing in the right direction. This shows from the last reval we had in 2010. You know, in 2020, we're going to have another reval. But in 2015, that's when we had our cycle revals. There's a downtick in 2015, but if you notice, generally speaking, it's a positive slope on the trend, which is good news. All right, this is our mill rate calculation, which shows the total amount of the budget less revenues other than tax, and these are the calculation that go into calculating the mill rate. And again, it assumes that's the net grand list, less Board of Assessment Appeals of $2 million, and that's at a 98.44% collection rate. And the increase, as said before, is 2.45%. So on an average residential home, the increase is $153.65, and on the average condo, that's an increase of $74.43. So in conclusion, this mayor's proposed budget realizes a 1.15% or a $33,282,944 increase in net grand list, which yields $978,519 in new tax revenue at a proposed mill rate of 29.4. It also utilizes a 98.44% tax collection rate, and that's consistent with the last 3 years. It provides for several one-time capital expenditures that allows for future long-term debt absorption. And it utilizes $500,000 less in waste management funds than the current fiscal year.
Any questions for
Any
Greg?
questions?
Greg, back to the town, you called it town contributions, is $1 million something. You said things are, some of our regional obligations like the Linoa, whatever.
Right.
What else would be in there? Just seemed high to me.
County Authority.
Lake Authority,
Campbell
Linoa.
Lake Authority,
Is any less
West
Dog pound
County
is going in
yeah,
there.
Dog Pound,
Dog Pound,
Fire
West County.
hydrant.
The dog pound, oh, that was yours, was separate.
Right,
Okay.
right.
Forgot about the dog pound, okay.
You know, Katie, I don't have that
No, just,
ingrained in my memory.
no, I wasn't thinking about the dog pound being in there too, so I guess it adds up.
Yeah, things
So-
that there's like annual appropriations for, you know,
Okay. So
outside
it's not-
agencies,
Ah, okay,
outside agencies.
okay, thank you.
Doug?
Greg, can you go back that one page and tell me exactly what the average increase per house and condo was? You went kind of quick and I didn't get that.
Okay, the average increase from this year, $153.65 for the average residential home, and $74.43 for the average condo.
Thank you.
Now, these baselines will probably change next year when we get a reval, so it really won't be a comparison for 2022, because we'll be comparing apples and oranges, but that's what it is currently.
Diane?
Thank you. Would you just clarify the amount that is expected to be raised in taxes? I saw a number of 84 million and then a number of
No.
another 86 million.
84, 358, 776.
Earlier on it was 86. Just
Where?
curious, on another slide. Right there, 85.
Okay, you gotta understand, there's a differential between current taxes to be raises and overall taxes. Embedded in that tax category is back taxes, supplemental taxes, there's lien fees, so it's, what's on that, why there's a difference, the mill rate calculation takes into effect current taxes only. Does that answer your question?
Got it, yes, okay,
Okay.
yeah, thank you.
So the mill rate's not affected by the other tax, just current?
Current taxes, so that would be supplemental motor vehicle and current
So that's-
real estate and personal property taxes.
I understand, thank you.
Any other questions for Greg?
I
Okay.
can
Thank
move on to our department's budget. Okay, this is just the overall department overview. The finance office is responsible, this is just, a Reader's Digest version of what we do. Compilation of financial statements, preparation of budgets, all long and short-term financing, day-to-day transactions, accounts payable, purchasing, payroll, compliance with state and GASB requirements, and as treasurer, all investments for the town. The finance office maintains records and bank reconciliations for over 30 funds, maintains records and reconciliations for numerous investment accounts, oversees over $100 million in assets. We prepare the annual town report. We compile the 5-year capital plan. We monitor insurance and pension funds. We conduct the annual audit, and we also provide support for union negotiations. This is our table of organization with myself, my comptroller Olga, purchasing, accounts payable, and payroll clerk. Our total request is $408,396, which consists of personnel, ASME overtime, materials and supplies, Conference of Connecticut Municipality membership fees, and GFOA membership fees. The change in the budget is actually lower from this fiscal year, is due to a combination of wage increases and the transfer of the grants writer to the Economic Development Office. Okay, so it's pretty vanilla. Any questions?
Any questions for Greg? Thank you.
That concludes it.
Thanks,
Thank
Greg.
you.
Thank you.
Great, thank you very much.
Next, we're going to move to the legal budget, which is page 98 in your budget books. So as you can see, this department is down in total $3,000 from last year's budget. You can see legal personnel. There isn't any line item there. Other legal expenditures, we're keeping it the same as the 2020 revised budget. Same for the legal retainer, same for legal planning. Inland wetlands is the same. Legal zoning is the same. Legal ZBA is the same. Legal assessors is the same. We did add for legal tax collector, it's the same as well. And then legal personnel is the same. Does anybody have any questions on legal? Okay. Next, we're going to move to the mayor's office budget. Could I ask, you can put that for me on?
What page?
So that is going to be page 60. And we also have it up top over here too. So basically the mayor's office personnel consists of the executive secretary, who makes the $47,853, the office coordinator, who makes $48,589, and then she also gets $250 for longevity pay. Then the newly established community resource coordinator, that's $50,000 with no benefits. And then the mayor's position, which is $85,591, and then there's $4,280 in lieu of pension. Does anybody have any questions so far on that? The next is with economic development being extremely busy and tasked with, as Karen, who's sitting there, knows, is really growing our ground growth. As we can see, some of that's coming to fruition already, as the graph had shown. So the tourism, we're going to pick it up in the mayor's office. So we have $3,500 for tourism, which would be brochures and flyers to get our name out there. And then also $29,500, which will be for the Simple View website. So that website will be different than the economic development one because they're two totally different things. So we're going to be moving more towards getting a regular end person to come in and spend money in our shops, in our restaurants, go to our natural resources, our rivers, our parks, and whatnot.
For a nominal fee, Mr. Mayor, I'll walk around with a sandwich sign.
Nice! I like that.
Nominal fee. Nominal fee.
Okay. The next is
Thank you,
material.
Karen.
We win Santa.
You're hired.
Get your shorts for the summertime.
Whoa!
I'm sure I'd say that.
Keep quiet there.
The next is material and supplies, that stayed the same, as well as the expense account. Does anybody have any questions on the mayor's budget? Okay. Next is the town council budget, and that's page 58. And you can see there's an increase in the town council budget to $6,050. And if you'll notice the consultants, which went from $13,000 to $19,050, that line item pays for our secretaries that we have here, we have on the building committee, and we have on the.
We pay Stephanie?
Oh, that's secret.
Not anymore.
Also, our legal notices are the same, and so are our material and supplies. Does anybody have any questions on the town council budget? Next, the Board of Finance budget, page 7. Walter, you want to talk about that?
It's simple, similar to the budget we just talked about, the expenses of secretarial recording, fees, and just a small amount for supplies and materials like that. Doesn't have to change much over the years by much more than $200.
Does anybody have any questions for the Board of Finance for Walter on their expenditure line? Okay.
So I just have one question on the town council line.
Yep.
There wasn't any increase for us.
A couple people of water.
Same thing for water.
It's the water.
Yeah, water.
Especially this week.
Yeah.
So do we have any other town department whose presence you may want to be requested? This is the first night, so we're going to see more people, but
You know, as a board of ed gets a lot of snacks at their meeting.
Snacks.
Just our,
Carried away.
Walter, would you like to close this out? With a, we're not going to adjourn, we're going to.
Oh, you want to recess?
Yeah.
Motion to recess?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
See you tomorrow night, everybody. Thank you.
How much is right here, right here.
Yes.